It's indeed a pleasure and a privilege for me to be here today and share a bit on, I think, a topic which is extremely important to every one of us in this room, not only for our children, but for the future of the world. And so it is indeed a pleasure for me to represent what we are doing in India in the field of education. All the topics, all the points that Yuri pointed out are extremely important. But when we talk about India, we are talking about scale. We are talking about 1.3 billion people. We have 1.4 million schools in our country. We have 640,000 secondary schools, primary, higher secondary and secondary schools. We have 10,500 engineering institutions, 39,000 colleges, and we have 150 million students who are going to be entering into the workplace in this country over the next few years. So I guess innovation, entrepreneurship, creativity, critical thinking, all of these are a must if you want these 150 million students to carry the 1.3 billion people into a world of prosperity, well-being, wellness, and happiness. So with this, is there a, this one? The green button. Oh, this one, okay, great. We are also living in a world of rapidly evolving technologies, whether it is artificial intelligence, which is the convergence of all the sorts of technologies that are happening. We are today living in a world of affordable, accessible, advanced technologies, where the cost of computing is coming down dramatically, whether it is nanocomputing, cognitive computing, supercomputing. We are living in a world where communications costs is reducing on a daily basis, on an exponential basis. We are also living in a world where storage capacity is increasing tremendously. We are living in a world of Internet of Things where devices, machines, man are being connected by sensor technologies. We are living in a world where artificial intelligence is able to converge augmented virtual reality, advanced transportation systems, and get a lot of data, which is there for processing and for discussion and decision making. So this is the world in which we are living in, and we are living in a world where our educational curriculum is pretty outdated when we look at what is happening in the world on a daily basis. So how do we ensure, in a country like India especially, and it's true for the rest of the world, how do we ensure that all the students who are graduating are able to be abreast of the emerging technologies which are creating the solutions of the world? How do we ensure that in a world which is besieged by problems like climate change, affordable health, and affordable housing for all, especially in a country like India, where we have problems of waste management? If you don't take care of waste management, for example, in a city like Delhi, it is estimated by 2050 we'll require a city the size of Delhi to hold the waste that is being generated in the northern capital region. How do we ensure that we have healthcare for all, where we have 715 districts in our country spread across the nation, and we have 60% of our country still in the rural economy? So these are challenges which cannot be solved by just a conventional approach that we have today for education. What we have to do is to stimulate innovation, and we have to stimulate entrepreneurship across the length and breadth of our country. Now, when we talk of innovation, when we talk of entrepreneurship, it is silly or it is impossible to talk about entrepreneurship without first creating an innovative mindset in the young students who are graduating from our schools, going into colleges, and entering into the industry. And therefore, the first and foremost problem that we are besieged with is, how do we create a problem-solving, innovative mindset in the school students who are coming out from our schools? The schools which are, like I said, 1.4 million in number. And how do we also ensure that the gender disparity, which has plagued us all over the last several decades, is addressed in a country like India, where 50% of the country are girls and women, and who need to be absorbed into the economy? Just 50% of the girls and women who, if they are educated and start working, will beat all Indian record of 5 trillion which they have set, because they are not in the workplace. Only 18% of our women are in the workplace today. So you have an upside for ensuring innovation and entrepreneurship. So the Atal Innovation Mission has launched a major initiative. It was initiated about 2 years ago to see how we can, in a very holistic manner, create an innovative problem-solving ecosystem in the country. Because India has never lacked for great thinkers, great engineers, great scientists. Ramanujan's mathematical problems are still being attempted to be resolved by mathematicians across the world. He was a Nobel Prize winner in mathematics, as all of you know, or he was one of the greatest mathematicians India has ever seen. People like Abdul Kalam, who have come from the remotest state or remotest town called Rameshwaram. I don't know whether you have even heard of that place. It's a place where there was one church, one mosque, one school, maybe one university. I don't know why the university was created when you have only one school. But still, and we had plenty of fishing boats. And from this small town in coastal India came one of the greatest scientists India has ever seen. So the talent exists in this country. How do we ensure that that talent has access to an ecosystem that will stimulate innovation, stimulate entrepreneurship across the length and breadth of the country? So what we said is we will start with schools, because that's where we have to start with the problem. The problem is, how do we create a problem-solving, innovative, critical thinking mindset in our young school students who are coming out of schools? So we launched what is known as one of the, I would say it is one of the largest game-changing initiatives in India. On education, we launched thousands of adult tinkering labs. Now, what is an adult tinkering lab? An adult tinkering lab is a dedicated innovation workspace in every school, where it is a space like this, about 1,500 to 2,000 square feet, where you have the latest technologies like 3D printers, robotics, IoT devices, miniaturized electronics, augmented virtual reality, do-it-yourself kits. You have do-it-yourself kits because children love to tinker. They love to play with technology. This is a room where the children, when the child enters this space, the teacher is no longer in control. It is a student who is in control because he is looking at all these technologies, and we induct them into the concept of problems identification first, followed by problem solving, leverage this technology. So when you're coming from your home to the school, we encourage the children, look at the world around you, look at the community around you, look at what are the problems that you're able to see. We often complain about problems, but we don't even identify them. We don't even want to see them. So we say, look at the problems around you, come back to the school, converge in small groups, and start deliberating on how you can solve the problem. And you have these technologies like 3D printing and robotics, and IoT devices, and miniaturized electronics, Arduino boards, which you can play around with and create a prototype of a solution. And then we launched thousands of what are known as adult tinkering challenges. So we launched this through an online mechanism, and we make sure that every student is able to access this online portal through which they are able to identify the challenges, create solutions, upload the solution. So if any of you go into Facebook page on Atal Innovation Mission, or if you go and see the net, and you see the videos of young children uploading their prototype of innovations, of problems they have solved. And what type of problems have they solved? In a remote school from Thoothukudi, which you have not heard of, it's difficult to pronounce, is a girls' school. They have come up with a solar panel, IoT-based irrigation management system for their farmers in that place, because there is a lack of water, there's a lack of, and there is need for precision agriculture. There's a need for conservation of water. All the challenges that we launch are aligned with along the SDG challenges, the Sustainable Development Goals. So if you go to these schools and talk to the children, they are aware of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And that is important if you want to create a future where the children are bothered about the world that they are living in. It's very important. And so where are we on this journey? We have launched 9,000 tinkering labs across the country, spanning 680 districts. Before the end of this year, we'll have 10,000 adult tinkering labs. More than 5 million students, young students in schools, are getting exposed to innovation, to emerging technologies. This provides a perfect platform to keep abreast of newer technologies that are entering into the system. So for example, artificial intelligence do-it-yourself kits and blockchain do-it-yourself kits are being introduced in the schools, so that children get an awareness of what all these technologies are about and how we can solve. And in order to support this, we have created a mentoring network across the country. Because our teachers, while we have launched an extensive ATL in charge teacher training program, we found that the industry, Indian industry, has grown pretty well. It's a $180 billion ITS industry that is thriving in our country. how do we rope in all these professionals to mentor our young students into the future world that we want to create in India and across the world? So we have corporate adoption. Many companies have adopted tinkering labs across the schools. Today, when we launch what is known as a tinkering marathon, ATL tinkering marathon. It's not a running marathon, but it is an innovation marathon every year. In this year, 50,000 students participated in this marathon. And we had 1,800 innovations which got created. 100 of them got selected for top recognition. And they are being adopted by corporates as well as other partners in order to convert them into commercially deployable innovations. Now, think about it. From the school, you are now getting innovations which can have the potential to be commercially deployed. So this is one of the initiatives. We are, before the end of this next 4 years, we are planning to have at least 50,000 Atal Tinkering Labs across the country. The important thing is every Atal Tinkering Lab provides access to all the neighboring schools. We have mandated that any Atal Tinkering Lab should provide access to more than 4 to 5 schools in their vicinity so that the students who don't have an Atal Tinkering Lab are able to avail of that. 70% of our schools are government-aided schools. So we are attacking the rural problem, which is the most pressing problem in the country. 70% of our schools are girls and co-ed schools. So we are ensuring that girls become an integral part of the innovation journey that the country has launched itself upon. And in the latest Tinkering Marathon, it was very heartening for us to find that 45% of the winners were girls. And that is a big advancement for a country like India. There are many other initiatives that Atal Innovation Mission has launched on. I'm not going to go into the details, but at the university level, we have launched hundreds of incubators which will foster startups. There is a grant of 10 crores, which is given by the Indian government. So each incubator will foster 25 startups, and that means 100 incubators would foster 5,000 startups in the next 4 years. We also launched product challenges called Atal New India Challenges, so that you will stimulate product innovations in areas of national interest, whether it is economic growth or societal growth. And in all of this, collaborating for success is extremely important. So we are collaborating with countries as well as with academia across the world. Harvard Business School, MIT Media Lab, they are associated with Atal Innovation Mission. We have partnership with Singapore government, the government of Germany, Sweden, Russia, and so on. So there are many other initiatives because this is not just an Indian problem, it's a global problem. And we want to make sure that everybody benefits because of what is happening in India. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you. There is a small video that I would like you to see, if it is possible for the organizers to show that video. If not, we will proceed with the next. Thank you so much.